Hello Year 4, today is Wednesday the 10th of February and your learning question today is can I consider the purpose of a text? You will be working from your writing book today on page 3, planning your writing. You will also need a blue colouring pencil, a red colouring pencil as well as your normal writing pencil. Okay, so just check that you've got those things, pause the video and then come back when you're done. Okay, to warm your brains up today, I want you to think of some expanded noun phrases to describe this creature. Now, can anybody tell me what an expanded noun phrase is? So have a think, and if you can email it in, you'll get a Marvellous Me shout out. Okay, so can you think of some expanded noun phrases to describe this creature? So it looks a little bit like a griffin. It's got some really nice gold eyes, a big sharp beak. It's got really sharp talons, so claws, and huge wings and what looks to be a very fluffy white tail. Okay, so we're looking at page 3 today, and we're going to have a go at question 1, and I think we might have a go at question 2 as well. So before writing, we plan what we are going to write. That's something we do in school. After you've learnt all the techniques that you're going to include in your writing, you plan what you're going to write. And when we do our plans, we have to think very carefully about the purpose of our piece of writing and the type of audience that's going to be reading our writing, okay? So this affects the language that we use. If we're writing a diary entry, we know that we're going to be the only ones reading it, so we might use informal language. If it's going to be a letter to Mrs. Beckett about school uniforms, you know that it's going to be Mrs. Beckett reading it, so you might write a little bit more formally, okay? You also need to think about how you structure your writing, so you always have an introduction and an ending or a conclusion, and what order your ideas need to come in, okay? So we're going to have a quick look at the definition of purpose. So purpose is the reason why the text is being written. So is it to entertain somebody? Is it in a magazine article, and it's for people that want to look at how to bake a cake, or it might be a film review, or it could be a short story. Okay, so that would be to entertain. To persuade, it could be an advert. You've all had a go at doing an advert. Another piece of persuasive text would perhaps be the letter that you wrote to the Grinch before Christmas about trying to not steal Christmas. You might be writing to inform, so that would be an information text. So that would typically be non-fiction, and it might be a text on the habitats and diets of frogs. Okay, and the last one would be to discuss. So that might be a debate where you plan a piece of writing. It might be a text that looks at arguments for, arguments against. Okay, so there are lots of different purposes for a text being written. Now, your audience is the person who will be reading the text. So it might be that you're writing a letter to parents about a school fair. It might be that you're writing a leaflet for teenagers on road safety. It could be that you're writing a recipe for one of the children in reception. So think about how you would have to change the style that you write for the audience that you have. If you were writing a recipe for children in reception, you'd have to write really simple, in simple terms. You'd have to write short sentences. You might have to use some words that use phonics so they could break it down themselves. You might have to have pictures next to the text so they could see what they were doing. Okay, if you're writing a letter to parents, you're going to be a little bit more formal. You could use impressive language. You could use formal terminology, you might address them dear and yours sincerely because of the formality of it, okay? So this little bit of at the top is what we've just discussed. So this bit at the top in your workbook is there for you to refer back to, okay? Now, the first activity is this underneath, okay? And it's saying here are some ideas for different texts. Think about the main purpose of each, what the main purpose of each text would be. Colour the texts that would entertain in blue and those that would inform in red. So when we think of a text that entertains, we think of something that makes us laugh, something that we enjoy doing. It might be that you enjoy going to the cinemas, so you would read a movie review, or you love reading books and you're looking for the next read, and it might be that you look at book reviews and that's entertaining you. It might be a news article about a trip to Greece, and that would entertain somebody because they like to travel. So there's lots of different purposes for entertainment. And inform would be if you wanted to gain information. So this part of your lesson today is informing you of what you are learning. So you're learning something new from an information text, okay? So the choices that you have got are a script for a school play about a daring pirate adventure, an article explaining explaining new train ticket prices in the region, an explanation in the textbook about how waterfalls form, a poem about a day at the circus, a fantasy story about a mischievous elf who tricks humans, a mystery story about the case of Mrs. Sims' stolen wheelbarrow, and instructions on how to get to the city centre from the airport. So your job is to colour each bubble using either blue or red and deciding about whether it entertains or informs. So I've got some examples here. I don't know if you can see them all. And I've got 4. And I'm going to show you the different purposes of these texts. Okay? So, a poem about a day at the circus. Would that be to inform somebody or to entertain them? Now, is a poem a non-fiction piece of writing? Yes. Does it give me any new information that I don't already know, though? No. It's written to entertain because it's a poem. Okay? A leaflet about healthy eating. Now, a leaflet about healthy eating would be providing me with information. I don't think I'd find it very entertaining because, as much as I try to eat healthy in school, I aren't always a healthy eater at home. So I don't think it's going to be an entertaining text. I don't think it's going to be very exciting. I think it's trying to teach me some new things about healthy eating. So because it's a leaflet and it's about healthy eating, it's going to be an information text. Okay, an explanation text about growing plants. So we've already written explanation texts and we all know that they are non-fiction texts. We also know that an explanation text perhaps teaches us some new things that we didn't already know. So I think that this one is also to inform. Okay, so do you get the idea there about what's going on? So we've got a poem, a leaflet, and an explanation text. My last one is a fairy tale story. Now I know fairy tale story is fiction, and I like to read a lot of fiction because it makes me happy and it gives me something to do before I go to bed. So I would say that a fairy tale story is an entertaining piece of text. Okay, so hopefully you've had to go with question 1. You're now going to have a look at question 2. It says the extracts below are from 2 different texts about how chocolate is made. So, extract 1 is, do you know how yummy chocolate is made? Read on to find out about the magic behind this scrumptious treat. And extract 2, chocolate is made from cocoa beans, which are native to regions with humid tropical climates such as Central America. You've got your 2 extracts there, and the question about these extracts is asking you, which extract do you think was written for adults? Explain your answer. So you've already got the sentence at the top written for you. I think that extract something was written for adults. You're going to look at which one you think is written for adults and why. Now, I would give you the tip and advice of look at how formal the text is. Look at the language that is being used. So is yummy a word that you would use for adults? What information is the text giving you in the extract? So is it telling you about the location of the cocoa beans? Is it telling you about where chocolate is being made? Okay, and then you need to expand with the word because. So I think that extract was written for adults because. So it might be because the language used is more formal than extract. Or you might say, because this text gives me some more information about the location of the cocoa beans, whereas an extract doesn't really tell me much other than asks me if I want to know where chocolate is made. Okay, so have a think and have a read. Now, those are the only 2 tasks that you have got today. And then tomorrow we are going to revisit question 3, 4 and 5, okay? So we're going to have a go of questions 3, 4 and 5 together tomorrow. But your task for today is just to have a go at question 1 and question 2 after watching the first part of the lesson, okay? So your challenge today is to think of 3 different texts that inform the reader. So can you think of 3 texts that are information texts, okay? Have a think, write them down, send them in, okay? I can't wait to see what you come up with. And today's reflection is today I have learned that. What have you learned? Have you learned about purpose and audience? Have you learned about different texts? What is it that you have learned about? And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.